So far, you've heard about homeless services in Lafayette. You've also heard about some different food banks that are available in the Lafayette area and addiction services that are available for homeless individuals in the Lafayette area. However, there are also services all around the country and also national organizations that help with the homeless situation here in the United States. Some of the big ones that we have listed here in our PowerPoint presentation include the National Coalition for the Homeless. This is an organization that I was not familiar with at all before working on this project. They're very influential in policy making for homeless individuals, and then also trying to get money distributed more or government money budgeted towards helping the homeless situation here in the United States. Some important areas that they focus on are housing justice, healthcare justice, economic justice, and civil rights, all for homeless individuals. Secondly, like to talk about Goodwill, and they were kind of one of those organizations that I'd always gone and donated clothing there throughout my life as a child, and also gone there and shopped on occasions. But I was never really sure what Goodwill did. I knew that they were, one of those organizations that you wanted to donate to because they did some wonderful things for the community and the country. But I did some research, and they actually do a lot to meet the needs of many individuals who are homeless. That's not their primary focus. They are focused on the needs of youth, seniors, veterans, and military families, as well as immigrants and other individuals with disabilities. However, those categories do include many homeless individuals here in the United States. Next, I'd like to talk about the Salvation Army. They were another organization I was actually more familiar with. They have shelters and homeless services all around the country. They also provide educational services, counseling, and vocational services for extended periods of time for homeless individuals. Next, we want to just mention the churches across the United States. Many churches have been very influential in food drives and also raising money to support homeless shelters, and many of the volunteers who volunteer in homeless shelters and rescue missions are affiliated with churches of one kind or another. Another organization that we'd like to mention was the National Allegiance to End Homelessness. Once again, another one of those organizations I was not real familiar with before working on this project for AGR 201. They're also very influential in legislative advocacy for homeless individuals. Another thing that they put a lot of emphasis on is training programs for individuals and communities to try and diminish the number of homeless individuals and the impacts of homelessness in communities across the country. A third thing that the National Alliance to End Homelessness focuses on is education to lawmakers and government officials about homelessness, statistics, anecdotal evidence, that sort of thing. If you move to the next slide, I would like to discuss some of the experiences that different group members had. As you can see, one of our group members met a homeless man on the bus and had lunch with him. Also was able to talk to him a little bit about his story as far as why he was homeless. I was not the individual who interacted with this man. However, it sounds like he had a great interaction with him. Also, some of our group members volunteered with Lafayette Urban Ministry. I myself have not done my cultural immersion yet. I've talked to Shalise about that. However, some of our group members volunteered for LUM, stayed at the emergency shelter, made and donated kits and supplies for the homeless individuals to take out with them on the street, just to hopefully help alleviate some of the pain and distress that they're under. And then also provided food for the shelter dinner. That was one important thing that some of our group members also worked on. Next, if you move to the next slide, I'd like to talk about the costs of ending homelessness here in America. Right now, the budget for the housing and urban development in the United States is only $1.9 billion. That sounds like a large number, but when you really look at the large number of homeless people who are in the country, it's not really a number that has been effective. There was a quote by Mark Johnston, the source where we got our actual diagram there, who said that number needs to be increased by about tenfold. to $20 billion. And the chart that we have up there on the PowerPoint simply puts that number into perspective. Once again, $20 billion sounds like a huge number, which it is. However, if you put it into perspective with some of the other numbers that Americans spend money on and that the government spends money on, you can really see that the playing field is kind of uneven there for some of those other initiatives upon which money are spent. Lastly, I'd like to sum up our presentation by showing you guys these videos. I'll just give you a quick summary if you don't have time to look at the videos. These are some interviews that we found online and thought were very interesting and relevant to the topic of which we're researching and studying right now. The first video is an interview with a homeless man named Ronald Davis, and one of the things he really talks about is how humiliating it is to be a homeless individual in America. He's had people really look down upon him, and he has to go out and actually, they call it pan for money, begging is another word for it, and he's really been degraded by some people, which isn't surprising. However, he talks about how difficult that is as a human being to be looked on just as a lazy bum is, I believe, the words that he uses. In the second video, there's a discussion with a man who actually, surprisingly enough, has 2 master's degrees, one from Dartmouth University and one from our own Purdue University, and he's a homeless man in Boston. His name is Maurice Johnston, and he really has struggled to find a job. He went upon hard times while he lived in Cleveland, trying to care for his elderly parents, and lost his job. Actually was moved out to Boston, had a job opportunity taken away from him. So he's using his education to try and gain a new job, teaching or something. However, he's really overqualified for a lot of jobs, and he also discusses some of the difficulties in the current job market, especially if you're a homeless individual for trying to find a job. And the third video is actually a very interesting investigative documentary by ABC News. I believe it's a program or the hashtag What Would You Do? And what they did is they set up secret cameras in a restaurant and had actors actually come in, act as a homeless man and then as a bartender with real people. And the bartender basically treated the homeless man like dirt and told him that he shouldn't be in this establishment and took his money and wouldn't serve him. And it was just kind of a social experiment to see how different people would respond to homelessness and really just to see what the heart of the American people is about homeless individuals. So those are 3 videos that really, I guess, kind of speak to 3 different aspects of homelessness and the difficulties that are encountered and some different biases and discrimination that homeless people really experience, especially in that third video. You not only see the good side of people, some people buying him a meal, but you also see the bad side where some people really look down upon him and feel that the bartender is in the right to throw him out of the restaurant. So all that being said, I would like to thank you for listening to our presentation.